Most people think being an airline pilot is glamorous. The uniform, the travel, the hotels, the perfect Instagram photos above the clouds. But what they don't see is the pressure of knowing that one small mistake could cost hundreds of lives. At 38,000 feet, there's no pulling over, no second chances. No, let me try again. Just you, a machine worth hundreds of millions, and the responsibility of getting everyone home alive. Because while passengers are watching movies, sleeping, or drinking coffee, someone in the cockpit is carrying the weight of every soul on board. And after today, you may never look at pilots the same way again. The day usually starts long before sunrise, not because pilots love waking up early, but because airplanes don't care how tired you are. 3:47 a.m., the alarm goes off. Your body feels broken because yesterday you landed in another country, crossed time zones, and slept in a hotel room that still doesn't feel real. But you get up anyway, quietly, because your family is sleeping. And honestly, they already sacrifice enough for your job. You check the weather before brushing your teeth. Storm systems, wind speeds, visibility, fuel calculations, airport conditions. Before most people even open their eyes, your brain is already preparing for hundreds of possible disasters. And this part surprises people. Pilots are not just drivers in the sky. They're decision makers under pressure. Every flight begins with one question. What could go wrong today? Then comes the moment that never fully feels normal. Walking toward the aircraft, this giant machine, bigger than most buildings, is now your responsibility. And inside it, hundreds of people. A mother traveling with her baby, a student flying home, a businessman, a couple going on vacation, someone seeing their family for the last time, someone seeing their family for the first time. And none of them truly think about the cockpit, because passengers assume everything will be okay. That's the strange thing about trust. People walk onto airplanes without knowing your name, your stress level, or whether you slept properly. They simply trust you. Completely. That trust is heavy. Very heavy. And the moment the cockpit door closes, the pressure begins. People think turbulence is the scariest part of flying. For pilots, it's usually takeoff. Because in those first moments, everything happens fast. Very fast. The aircraft accelerates down the runway. There's a point called V1. After that speed, you cannot stop safely anymore, even if something fails. Even if there's danger ahead, you must continue the takeoff. Imagine that level of commitment. A split second where there's no turning back. And while passengers casually sip coffee, pilots are scanning instruments every second. Engine performance, wind conditions, hydraulic systems, navigation, bird strike risks, weather cells. One tiny abnormality can change everything. And yet, the voice passengers hear over the speaker always sounds calm. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. Because panic is contagious. Calmness saves people. Here's the part nobody posts online. The loneliness. Pilots spend half their lives leaving birthdays, leaving anniversaries, leaving normal routines. You wake up in cities you barely remember. Different beds, different clocks, different weather. And eventually, time itself starts feeling strange. Some pilots miss holidays for years. Some watch their children grow up through phone screens. Some relationships don't survive the schedule, because being physically absent for long enough changes people. And the hardest part? You can't bring the stress home. You're expected to stay calm everywhere. In the cockpit, in airports, in emergencies, even in your personal life. So many pilots silently carry exhaustion nobody notices, because professionalism hides pain very well. There's a moment during turbulence when passengers look terrified, while pilots stay surprisingly calm. Why? Because training changes your relationship with fear. Pilots practice emergencies over and over and over again. Engine failures, electrical fires, rapid decompression, hydraulic loss, crosswind landings, and simulators. They train for disasters most passengers can't even imagine. Not because airlines expect crashes, but because preparation creates survival. And sometimes, the calm voice from the cockpit is hiding enormous pressure. Maybe weather suddenly changed. Maybe fuel margins got tighter. Maybe another airport became unavailable. Passengers rarely see how many problems pilots solve quietly. That's the real skill. Not avoiding problems, managing them without creating panic. Landing looks smooth from the cabin, but in the cockpit, it can feel like threading a needle at high speed, especially at night, especially in storms, especially with crosswinds. The runway may look close, but pilots are calculating speed, angle, wind correction, descent rate, visibility, spacing, runway conditions, all at once. And after hours of mental focus, one mistake at the end can still destroy everything. That's why experienced pilots never become careless. Confidence keeps you steady. Overconfidence kills. Then finally, the wheels touch the runway. Passengers clap sometimes. Most immediately turn their phones back on. But for pilots, there's usually just one quiet thought. We made it. Again. People often ask pilots, isn't flying exciting? Sometimes, yes. But after enough years, the excitement becomes responsibility. Because every flight carries invisible pressure. You're responsible for strangers who trust you completely. And that changes a person. Some pilots become quieter, more disciplined, more emotionally controlled. Because when your job depends on staying calm under pressure, your brain never fully relaxes, even off duty. That's the hidden cost of high-responsibility jobs. The world sees confidence, but confidence is often built on years of stress, mistakes, sacrifice, and relentless training. So the next time you board an airplane and hear that calm voice from the cockpit, remember this. Behind that voice is someone carrying enormous responsibility. Someone who woke up exhausted, trained for years, missed moments with family, and accepted pressure most people could never imagine. Not for attention, not for applause, but so hundreds of strangers can safely arrive home every single day. And maybe that's what makes this job extraordinary. Not the travel, not the uniform, not the view above the clouds, but the quiet responsibility of protecting lives, while pretending everything is normal. If this changed the way you see airline pilots, subscribe for more real stories behind the world's toughest professions. Because every job has a side the world never sees.